Hello Soul Tribes, good day to you all. How are you? Today is gonna be one of those days where I share with you my experience, and this is about something very personal. If you happen to see this vlog until the end, please excuse me, I had three different outfits because I had to film this on 3 different days because I'm having a hard time expressing what I'm trying to say because this is very controversial. I'm warning you there that this vlog is not for everyone because first of all, I'm not sharing this with you because I want you to feel sorry for me. This is just an example of my experiences, those times when I was in denial about finding out some harsh realities. It takes a while sometimes for our brain to process reality in front of us. It took me 3 to 5 years to accept what happened to me during my long relationship before. And this is my point, that each of us has our own way of accepting realities. The good news is I've healed those wounds. That's why I'm sharing it with you, because it doesn't affect me anymore. I've accepted it, and it has become my superpower now to be able to share my pain because it taught me a lot. Hello Soul Tribes, it's me again, Donna Bliss Vlogs. Today I'm gonna share with you the controversial topic about realities, about that experience of mine when I was in my early 20s, when I discovered that there are other people's realities, and I almost lost my marbles. Like, I thought I was gonna go crazy. So I'm gonna be very sensitive about this topic, and I feel like I need to warn you that this topic is not gonna be for everyone. It almost broke me finding out that there are other realities in there. I thought that my world and my reality is the only reality. We all have our different way of looking at the world. You know, there are people who are very positive, people who are very negative. And of course, that is understandable because we have different experiences since we're infant, you know. So all our parents are different, our environments are different, our society, cultural differences, our religion, if there is, our friends, our relatives. So all of this will actually be the reason why we have this specific reality. Most of all, our generation, every generation has a different outlook, you know, in what generation we grew up. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you've discovered now that your reality is not everybody's reality, then I congratulate you. Because if that's the case, then you will survive the upcoming turn of events. In a few years from now, my first crackdown, my first experience about finding out that there's other realities, when my first ever serious boyfriend broke up with me. It broke me down because I thought that we're planning to get married and have kids. We already have a name for our kid, our first child, second, and our pets. And that time that I found out he was sleeping with another girl, how come we were planning and then he's got another reality and another world? It's like, how can that be? I couldn't accept the fact that he was there when we were planning together our future, but how come his plans change without saying to me? I didn't get the memo that he's got another world and he's got other plans. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it was my first time to look at the world on a different lens, that you cannot control everybody's reality. You can only control yours. I have another example of this is, have you ever heard of incident when they said that if there are 5 people who saw a crime, each one of those people who saw the crime will have a different take on how they interpret the crime. What I'm saying is that how you see something is not how everybody saw something, because we have our individual set of lens how we see things. The truth is, every time I discover a different reality, it shocks me to the core sometimes, and I couldn't believe what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing, especially when your belief system is being challenged. Can you imagine those times when everybody thought that the world is flat, and suddenly Magellan said that it's not, it's probably round. And so he had to convince a king to sponsor him to go around the world, right? So when he proved to everybody that the world is round, that's actually a very hard reality to swallow, because all the people at that time was believing the world is flat. So that's the kind of reality I'm trying to tell you. I would tell you a reality that I discovered when I was in Dubai, that I was in denial, and I'm glad I was in denial because it protected me from the pain. Maybe it's a defense mechanism of the brain so that we could not feel the pain. I thought that it was a blessing in disguise that when I was with somebody in Dubai for a long time, before we separated, I found out that that partner of mine was cheating behind my back, and I had a physical evidence of that. The doctor told me. I don't have to tell that story. My brain that time couldn't handle the truth that, the reason why I went to Dubai was to be away from my ex-boyfriend who cheated. And then in Dubai, I was actually having the same experience as when I was in the Philippines. So a year after finding out that he cheated, we separated, right? So now I'm thinking about it. When you find out something painful about a reality, it is the real story, but your brain and your heart just couldn't accept it, because it's too much. The reality is gonna cause you your mental health, your heart broken, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm careful about vlogging this. I guess my bottom line is, sooner or later we will accept that this is real, this is the reality, the hard pill to swallow. That's what I'm talking about, the red pill or the blue pill. It's either you can take the red pill, the truth serum, the painful one, but it's the truth, or the blue pill, which is sugar-coated pill that, that pill I took in Dubai where I was in denial. I couldn't handle the truth, so I took the blue pill. And there's no judgment whatever pill we take, once we see a specific kind of reality, because it's a way of our body to protect us, and our brain and our psyche to protect us. Some brains have a capacity to accept reality in small dose. You can't feed the baby a broccoli because it will choke. So some of us can only handle small amounts of reality. I have seen a lot of unseen truths out there that can't be explained by science. Even scientists don't believe it. But because I've experienced it, then I have to believe it. And I understand why scientists who don't believe it, because they've never experienced it. Like, if you're a scientist, in order for you to believe in a specific reality, you have to experiment it, and every time you experiment about it, it's the same result, right? So if they experiment on a specific thing and it doesn't give you the exact result every time, then they don't believe it. Like, for example, these telepathy tapes that's so popular now in YouTube. It's about the kids with autism, and they are nonverbal. Some of them are telepathic, and there's a Harvard doctor who studies them, and there's a filmmaker who's doing the story. So it's everywhere in YouTube if you want to know about it. These kids have this out of this world ability, because they're nonverbal. Some of them, they can talk to another human being. It's either their mom or their teachers, their speech teachers, through telepathy. And at first I didn't believe it, but because there's somebody who's filming it and they're experimenting it, then I started to question my reality. Is it real? It's really hard to process a reality of somebody else, or the reality in general, and at first, is this new reality that I'm seeing is just a dream? Am I imagining this? And you try to pinch yourself. At times when you discover other people's reality, that both of you have a complete different take on one subject. Like, for example, me and my close friend were talking about a specific thing, and so it's not a fight, it's just her reality is so different from my reality, right? And so she's trying to tell me that she's not expecting me to react the way I usually react, or how she usually expects me to react. And I was thinking, yeah, because I've changed. Who I am now is not the Donna from last year or even last month. For example, if I have been through this awakening, this realization, right, that I was such a toxic person before, that I didn't know that I was so broken. I didn't know that I had this deep wound, deep trauma from my past. My reality at that moment that we were talking was that I haven't forgiven myself yet for being so broken. It was 2 decades ago. I still am processing it, how to forgive myself. But this close friend of mine was thinking, oh my gosh, you are so not over your ex, because until now you're still talking about him. And that was the time I realized, oh my God, we are in a different reality, because in her mind, and she believes it, that's the person that I'm talking about. But in my reality, I was thinking about myself and that how I've affected a lot of these people in my life. I didn't see it, but to her it's different. And so after that, I decided to, okay, if we have a different reality right now, I think it's better to just give ourselves space, because we are not seeing eye to eye. And this friend of mine, we've never fought yet in 2 decades. So I was thinking, okay, something's happening here, and I'm not gonna fight with this friend of mine, because obviously we are not thinking the same, right? This is what I've noticed now. There's a lot of new things that's coming to our reality, like the technology, my medicine. Like right now you can 3D print an ear. There's a lot of things you read when you follow this new technology, new medical breakthroughs in social media. And it shocks me almost every day that, have you heard of Neuralink, about this Elon Musk project that they put a microchip in your brain, and this microchip would help a person if you plant it in a person. If a person is doing a game, like a video game, it doesn't need to have a control, because the mind can control it through that Neuralink, through that microchip. And it's amazing. It's a breakthrough, right? It's like science fiction 10 years ago. And how about psionics? Have you heard about the word psionic? Because these are people, real people, and this has been happening, but the CIA and a lot of governments cover this up because it's a top secret. Things you will know about psionics. I will put ChatGPT what's the definition of psionics here. And ChatGPT is the new book of knowledge now. Used to be in my years in the 80s. I always either go to the library to find, to get research, or in the book of knowledge, or in the dictionary. Now it's ChatGPT, although in my experience, ChatGPT is only 98% accurate, because there are times when it's not really what you're looking for. Like they give you the research you want, but there are like 2 points that's not really accurate, because it's not 100% perfect. Sometimes these technology or medical breakthroughs are so ridiculous, it takes you a day to process that it's actually true, right? And sometimes just ordinary things. I know this vlog is a little bit confusing, but I'm talking about what I'm going through right now, seeing realities, different realities, other people's reality, the true reality that's in front of you. I've watched myself grow throughout the years. How do I process other people's reality to my reality? That's why I guess I have this emotional intelligence that sometimes you cannot push people into believing into your reality. Even my husband, we have a different reality because, especially religion, my husband is Baptist. And we don't talk about religion because he's got his own solid religious belief and I have my own solid religious belief. When you talk about these things, politics, religion, and some very solid beliefs of anyone, you cannot change it no matter how you brainwash them. Unless maybe it's like a brutal brainwash, right? Like a forced brainwash. I guess my bottom line is if you're aware that you cannot change other people's reality, you have this empathy that, okay, that's his or her reality and this is my reality, and it doesn't have to be the same all the time because we have different background, we have different experiences, we have different lens on how we interpret things, on how we feel. So you cannot expect everybody to have the same reality as you, right? All our beliefs came from our programming while we are babies. Sometimes people have differences because the other person cannot accept other people's reality. Well, very simple example. I grew up believing that when you marry a foreigner, suddenly your life will be paradise, will be perfect, right? I don't know why, I just have this belief. But when I actually married a white man, of course the reality will kick in. And it's far from what I thought because illusions and my old belief was just like a fantasy. That's what I planted in my brain, right? And so when I was actually living my old dream, it's not what other people or what I watch in the Disney movies, you know, like when you meet your prince, everything is going to be perfect. It was not like that when I was here in Australia. My reality changed because of my experience. Have you heard of this saying that reality is weirder than the illusion? Because I give you an example. Last year, I saw these two movies about Magellan. Magellan is the explorer, right? In the Philippines where I grew up. So we've been taught since we were children that Magellan is from Spain. These two movies that I saw based on true story. The way they are recreating this story about the past is that Magellan is not Spanish, but he's actually from Portugal. So the Spanish king was his sponsor to go and find other places, to go to other countries, to go to the Philippines, right? It was just there in my memory. But when I asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT, it says that Magellan is from Portugal. And the Spanish king actually hired him, sponsored him to go around the world. So my first reaction was, okay, this is the reality, this is the truth, nothing but the truth, right? So all my life I have been believing that Magellan was Spanish. And it's hard for me to absorb the truth. That's what I'm trying to say to you, that when you're faced with the truth, sometimes it takes you a little longer to process. So before I say goodbye, I'm gonna tell you my last message, that there are three kinds of reality. Your reality, other people's reality, and the complete truth, the complete reality. For example, when I gave birth to my daughter Madison, this nurse, she said to me, you know, your baby's brain will grow more if you make her listen to music, especially when sleeping. And my first reaction to it was, she's a nurse and she's telling me something woo-woo, because I never read anything about science saying that music was good for cellular growth, right? 2 years ago, I've read a lot of this in YouTube about music will heal. There's a type of frequency in music that can heal. And I've heard it decades ago that these grapes, they had an experiment that the grapes grew bigger and healthier when the farmer put music on this part of the grapes, and the part with no music grew a little bit smaller. In theory, right, the nurse was correct that baby's brain grow better when there's music, because music is frequency. And I've read in social media before that there are cancer patients who actually healed some tumor or made a tumor smaller because they were listening to this Beethoven music. And so it's not woo now, it's science that frequency can heal. So before, when this nurse was telling me, is it true or not? I believed her because I read somewhere that there's this genius baby. There was a reporter who asked the parents, why is your baby genius? Is there a genius in your family? In your family tree, generations of your grandparents? They said no, there was no genius at all. But the only thing that the mother said was that she always put classical music on when her baby was sleeping. And so they theorized that because of that classical music, then her baby's brain grew really, really good. And because of that frequency, he or she became genius. Now that I'm studying healthcare, and I've realized that everything here in Australia is holistic, meaning it's not only science. They cover up everything about mental health, about a holistic kind of healthcare. Holistic means this one here. So a lot of woo-woo before, it's like hearsay because there's no physical evidence whatsoever, are now not woo-woo anymore because science can actually explain it, and there are people who's experienced it by themselves. You know what I mean? I think this is one of my most important vlogs of all time because I'm talking about what's happening in our reality right now. And a lot of us, I used to be these kinds of people where I used to be very tribal. What I'm trying to say is, tribal is like when I'm too religious and I don't believe anything except my religion, then I don't believe in other realities. Doesn't mean that if you're this kind of person, you're wrong. I'm just saying your reality, yes, it is real for you, right? But there's also other realities out there that is as real as your reality. And sometimes when we talk about this ear that is growing, 3D printing from your ear, it sounds science fiction, but it's the reality. That's why I said sometimes reality is weirder than the actual illusion. Our brain and emotions can take time to process the reality. The real reality, not our reality. I'll give you an example for this. I have a dear person in my heart who told me that her pastor or her religion told her that people with tattoos are evil or something like that. And my husband has a tattoo. He's my favorite person in the world. He's a very, very good human being because he doesn't care about himself actually. He cares about other people too much. So in my reality, my friend's reality doesn't match because in my experience, my husband who's got a tattoo is not evil. He's one of the best person I've met in my life. And a lot of people in my life who's got a tattoo are really wonderful human beings. And so I cannot relate to her reality, right? But she believes that reality. So it's like tribalism, because that's what her tribe told her, and she's been programmed to think like that. There's nothing wrong with her reality, and there's nothing wrong with my reality, because my experience told me that her reality doesn't match my reality. That's all. I'd like for you to be open-minded in the future days, future months and years, that when you encounter another people's reality, or just in general another reality, be patient and just give yourself time to process it. You don't have to junk it, like just because your parents, just because your pastor, just because a priest or somebody you think is superior and the smartest person of all time thinks this is the only reality. It doesn't mean they are correct. It doesn't mean that music is just music. You know what I mean? From all the examples I told you. Before, when there's no evidence, you can say that it is not true. But if there's 1,000 of evidence that's coming up in your reality, at least don't junk it. If you take stock of all these evidences, why is this reality keep on appearing in front of you if it's not true? At least ask questions and challenge your reality. Is your reality telling you the truth, or is it time to open up your mind and see what's in there? See, why are they saying that music can heal? Open up other people's reality, like look at their reality. You know what I mean? I know it's hard at first, but microdosing yourself with reality is better than being close-minded, not evolving, not believing that the world is round. So this is what's currently happening in my life right now. For the past, I think, this year, my belief system has me questioned about my reality. Believe that there are no ghosts, there are no UFOs, there are no beyond physicality, these kinds of things. And it challenged me for the past 4 years of my life here in Australia, because I've seen a physical manifestation. Like my son just told me a few years ago that he's seen some things, and I couldn't tell him that it's just your imagination, because I've seen some stuff too that was not my imagination, and I'm 100% sure I'm a sane kind of person. So I cannot tell my son some lies and some belief system that will not help him, because it hasn't helped me. I've seen things that I can't explain, and that's what I told him, the truth, that it's not based on my belief system that somebody told me, or that I'm not supposed to believe about these things. I didn't believe in tarot card readers, but for some reason I was curious, is this real or not? So I researched. So I started observing about if they can see the future or not. And it saved me 2 speeding tickets. And now they're like 5 of them was telling me that we were gonna move. And I said, there's no reason to move. And yesterday, my husband said, well, our landlord is saying we need to move. For example, an ex will message you. It happened in the past. For example, watch out for your dreams, because your dreams might tell you something. It's like a warning or just a heads up on what's to come. I'm not telling you to believe in tarot readers, because there's a lot of fakes in there, especially when you say psychic mediums. If you want to research if these people are in fact 100% real and authentic, then you need to see the evidences, like how many people did they help, how many people did they read. And these psychic mediums, guys, this is reality, and this is what's happening now. They tour around the world now, like singers, like bands, like comedians. Comedians can actually, they make the auditoriums full, and this is what psychic mediums now are doing, because they can talk to the dead. And I am not here to convince you to believe my reality. I'm just saying this is the reality right now. It doesn't matter about my reality and your reality. It's what is happening. I want you to research about these names. Suzanne Giesman, she's a former Navy officer, so she's as authentic as a person can be. James Van Prague, he's on TV, and his experience with spirits are in the movies or in TV series. Matt Fraser, he used to have a TV series, and now he's in YouTube as a famous psychic reader, and he's helped a lot of people heal. This is not for me to say believe me, because it's the only reality. No. You might believe that all these people are evil, they are the works of evil or whatever it is, but that's your reality, and I respect that. But I am talking about not even my reality, because I've seen enough for myself to believe that these people are not evil people, because they help a lot of families, thousands, hundreds and thousands of families who've healed, when their loved one passed and there was no closure and stuff like this. And so I feel like these people are healers, just like singers, just like the conventional healers, like doctors. They heal broken hearts. So you don't have to believe me, just research these names that I've told you and what they do and how authentic they are as a person. So the reason why I'm sharing this, because I had to research about these people and this phenomena, because I've wondered, there's too much synchronicities in my life, and I can't just deny it. These synchronicities that's happening, it's like evidences. Why is it constantly happening to me? Why it keeps on? It's just there in my reality in front of me. It's like I can see a shoes. If all my life I've been programmed, it's not shoes, it's socks, but I see shoes, then I have to research why I'm seeing shoes. When my belief system, my religious belief, but I have to believe my own reality, because I know I'm not insane. Because you'll discover a lot if you research for yourself, and research is for free. ChatGPT is there, internet is there, YouTube is there, and when you research, you need to have an open mind. What is really the truth, the reality? It's without your own filter. Because me, I was brought up in a very strict Catholic belief. And at the moment, I am 10% Catholic, and I am more spiritual now, because those things that were programmed to me didn't really match what I saw in my reality and in my experiences. So I can't say that my belief system, whatever it is that was programmed to me, I can use it, because it was not useful in my experiences. So also, this is not to force you to change your belief system, or to change what you think about religion or whatever it is that you believe in, or if you believe in nothing of those stuff. Just question, why is it keep on coming onto your reality? Few years from now, you will see a lot of new realities, and I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but every time you see something that's real, like scientifically, for example, cloning. Just saw last week from an ex-classmate of mine about this science experiment that's successful, that they can grow a newborn with only a stem cell. That's not, is it really cloning? I didn't read much about it, but if it was real, then it's a shock, because the last time I heard, it was last year, China has made a baby out of without a mother, but there's a without a womb. They grew a baby, a human baby outside of mother's womb. So they recreated a mother's womb, but it's made up of technology. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a new reality now, and just what I said about last week, that they can now grow humans through what? Stem cells. So this is the kind of realities that it seemed impossible a year ago, 2 years ago. Is be careful being stuck in your reality about your belief system, because if you get stuck in your belief system, then it's hard for you to evolve. It's hard for you to see what is reality, what is in front of you. What's in front of you, always challenge what you see and what you experience. Does this coincide with my reality and the real reality, or am I stuck with my old belief system that I'm supposed to not believe this because this is my church, my community, my parents and my relatives belong in a tribe where we don't see it. We have our own beliefs and that's it. What I'm trying to tell you is challenge your belief and the reality that's in front of you. You need to research. Research is for free. Research is when you find out enough about your research, it will set you free. It will make you see reality. To wrap up everything, I always question if my reality is as real as the whole reality in front of me. And during 100 years ago, when a lot of people believe in witches, that we should burn the witches because they are the works of evil. This reality is coming to us soon, and for most of you who are listening to me, and that we will be faced with a new kind of reality, like the science and technology that I've told you about. The first reaction of our brain is not to believe it and believe that it's something of an evil because we don't understand it. I remember my mother saying that she's afraid of snakes, and the first thought that came to me when my husband told me we're going to Australia, where oh my gosh, there's gonna be so many snakes in there. Then he said to me, why are you afraid of snakes? The only snakes you need to be afraid of are the black and the brown one, because they're the poisonous ones. The other ones, don't worry about it. They won't harm you, or if they bite you, it won't be poisonous. So now that I am wiser and more aware, I see to it that okay, this is a new reality right in front of me. I need to research about it. From the past, I always rely on my programming and my old belief system, my religious belief, because there's no other ways of getting information. Nowadays, there is internet, and evidences and science is there to explain to you. Our reality right now, is it really what's real and what's the truth? Are witches all evil? Because what we call witches 100 years before are the pharmacists, because they concoct all this medicinal, the plants, and are useful for health. All these healers will be called witches. And if we're still in the same mentality like 100 years ago, we will still burn these people who are healers. Women who are changing the world, we call them witches because they have this power over people. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is, please don't change, but make sure that every time you see a new reality in front of you, just because you have a belief system, an old belief system, doesn't mean that you cannot research and find out hardcore evidences based on science. What is the science telling you? What is all these physical evidences that's in front of you that is not in sync with what you believed in? Like the witches I just told you about. Witches are evil people. Whereas nowadays we call them educated people, we call them healers, we call them the new age teachers. You know what I mean?